Hey, this is Don from Padlock Technologies again with another video. This time I got a question about regex or regular expressions. Do you really need to learn them? Now, clearly this was a question from someone that's studying for, they're trying to get their CCIE. They're still at the CCNA level, which is fine. We all start at the CCNA level. Trust me, when I started my journey a long time ago, and I have two of them, and I really want to get like four, but I'm getting old in the tooth now or long in the tooth, so I might not get the four, but at least three. So I'm almost there. But we all started at the CCNA level. So this question is to, or this answer, or this video is to answer that question. First and foremost, what are regular expressions? So regular expressions, they're in Linux, but they're also a way for you to have a string value and use that value in your search, right? So where you will see this in the routing world mainly is BGP, right? And the reason why you would use regular expressions because it quickly allows you to go through an AS or go through a AS path, find a particular ASN, and then you could do filtering techniques based on the ASN number. So we're gonna go to the Blackboard, and I'm gonna give you a little bit more detail about regex. Quick answer is yes, you should learn them, not only for the exam, but when you get out into the real world, you will use regex. You will use those regex values or the AS path access list is what you're going to use the regex values for, but you will use that if you're going to touch BGP at some point in your career. So let's go to the board and let's get some more detail on. All right. So we had the board here. Move this mic out the way. And then we're going to do, you know, I'm going to say BGP regex because regex in Linux is a totally different thing. And you will, if you think BGP regex is hard, wait until you get to use regex in Linux. Totally different beast. But let's start with here. So regex. So again, what you're going to do in BGP, right? And Cisco router, Juniper, regardless, but I'm going to do Cisco because that's, classically trained in Cisco. You're going to use this thing called an AS path access list. So the command for this is really going to be IP AS path access list. Make sure I can spell here. Some numerical value. And then you could do, it's going to be a permit or deny, right? Permit or deny. And then the regex value. Okay. That's what you're going to do. And then after that, you're going to tie it into a route map. You can do route map. You can use a route map, but if you're going to do a filter list, you can do a filter list in BGP and then filter routes going out or routes coming in, right? You use whatever the route map, and then you'll match this, and then you'll do something with it, right? But most of the time, you're going to see this in a thing called a filter list, right? And what this will look like in BGP would be the neighbor statement, X, whatever. Now I'm doing IPv4, but if you did IPv6, and then you do filter list one or whatever the numerical value is, and then in or out, right? Obviously, inbound, you're going to be filtering whatever the ASN inbound, outbound is what you're going to be sending out to your peer. Now, I'm gonna give you a couple of regex values, and I'll tell you what they are. So we have this, okay? So an up caret means this is the start and this is the end. All right. Now, the key here, though, is in the middle is where you're going to put your ASN values here. Now, this one here means local originate, right? Because there's no AS in between the start and the end. So that's locally to you. So you would do this command, right? You would have this filter list match to that. So you would say permit, and then the regex value up here would be this, and then you would send it outbound, and that would the benefit of this is now your local AS or your AS will no longer be used as a transit because this can happen. If you're dual homed, and you're going to do this in dual home situations, if you're dual homed, you don't want somebody coming from ISP1 and be able to move to you and then go back out to ISP2, which basically using you as a transit to get to ISP2. It's rare that it happen, but you want to make sure you don't do it. So I usually always do this filter list here and say, hey, I'm only going to send you whatever I locally originate, so I'll never be used as a transit. The next one you can use is something like this. So up carrots for start, and then we'll do, let's say 65001. This is a private, and then we'll do that, and then we'll do this. What this looks like is I want to have routes that have this ASN in the beginning of the AS path, right? And when I'm saying beginning of the AS path, I mean from left to right, okay? So this would technically look like this, right? So you are matching, it has to be at the beginning of the AS path, right? From left to right. Now, if you want to do the opposite, which would look like this would be at the beginning of the AS path from right to left. So this would mean this. 3 65002 65001, and that would be matching this here, and that would mean every route had to originate from this ASN before you would accept it, right? There's another one here, which is, I'll do it down here. It is here, or not A, but beginning one. Okay. So what that means is anything that has gone through 65001, right? So you're going to accept things that went through 65001. And that's really what AS path or regex are used for, right? You're going to use them with this AS path access lists, right? You're going to use them in there when it comes to Cisco. Now, I'm not even talking about iOS XR, which you're talking about, RPL and all that good stuff, because that's more, you can get real crazy with the regex values if you really get good at regex. Like you can match certain IP addresses, you can use brackets, you can all kind of stuff, right? But this is what you're going to mainly use in the BGP world. Again, you can also use this to when you want to look up routes. So quick command, you would do show BGP IPv4 unicast regex, and then the regex value, right? And then it will show you everything in the BGP table that's based on your regex value lookup. So if you wanted to say, hey, I want to see routes that originated from 65001, and this is just private AS, but if you want to use a public AS, just replace what I'm saying with the public AS. You would say show BGP IPv4 unicast regex caret space underline. So you have to have the underline value, the ASN, and the $sign, and it will show you every route that originated there. Now you can get practicing by using this thing called Looking Glass, and I'm really aging myself because a lot of old guys, us old engineers, use Looking Glass. Like if you want to practice looking up routes based on AS or regex values, you can use Looking Glass to do that, right? Or you could just build yourself a BGP network. It could be GRT, it could be, VPN v4, VPN v6, stuff like that, and just start practicing your regex values there. And then when you get good at regex values, you're going to be able to do real quick lookups like that. And then when you go into automation, you can start using your regex values there as well to help you with your, network automation tasks. So this is Don from Padlock Technologies. I hope that answered your question about should you use regex values and what they are to begin with. The answer is yes, and don't just study it for your tests or your lab. actually play with it, break it, do custom, try to make custom regex values and see what the results are so that when you get in the real world, it will actually help you. Hope this video was informative. Don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you, and have a nice day.